So even if you are a parent and you're sitting, you're like, I think I have limiting beliefs. That's okay. Admit them. You know what I mean? Be forefront about them, but don't allow them to then also dictate the future of what your kids can do. Hello, everyone. We are Greg and Jackie Francis, and welcome to High Performance Parenting, where our passionate goal is to encourage you to raise champion children in a crazy world. Every week, we will bring you multiple episodes from our extensive experience of raising our six happy, healthy, successful, godly kids who are confidently equipped to win big in life.
We deeply believe that any parent who is provided with the right knowledge and continual support can raise amazing kids. And when they do, all of our futures get better. If raising up future generations of absolute champions matters to you as much as it does to us, here's how you can contribute. Like and share this podcast with everyone you know. And together, let's embrace this journey of raising champion kids in a crazy world. Hey guys, we're back again, and we're going to finish up this interview with our amazing golf champion twins here. I wanted to just wrap up with them talking about a few key lessons that maybe you guys learned over the past, week or so of getting started on this journey.
Do you want to start, Abbie, or you, Bella?
I can.
Okay.
Even if you mess up your hit, or if you do something wrong, just take a deep breath and move on, and why not, and just hit the next hit better. Just learn from all your hits.
So if you get a circle 10 per se, right?
Yeah.
Where you max out at 10 strokes on a hole and you put a circle around it because you pick up your ball.
Yeah.
If you do that, does that get a little frustrating?
Yes.
Yeah.
It does.
So what do you say to yourself, though, in that moment? What do you think at that moment?
It's like, okay, I'm mad about that, but it's going to be a new hole, so let's just not make the same mistakes and try to do even better this hole.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a chance you just quit because you're too frustrated?
No, I don't want to quit at all. I just want to improve from my mistakes and just keep learning and growing and changing and getting better.
Because we're not quitters, are we?
Right.
We don't do that.
So even if you get embarrassed, right? Do you think somebody else probably have done it before you?
For sure.
Do you think somebody else might have been thinking the same thing you have?
Mm-hmm.
Or do you think somebody along the way has probably thought to themselves, oh gosh, what if the next one's the same as this one?
Yeah.
Right. So if other people have overcome it, do you think you can?
Yes.
Yeah. Because what you are? You're a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not about winning and losing. It's about winning and learning. Right?
So what are some things that you guys maybe do sometimes to get your mind to change? Like you get frustrated about something. How do you figure out a way to change your emotional state?
Well, one thing that I need to do is you gotta take a breath. It's a new hole. Just think about what you've always been taught.
Do you put your eyebrows up like that?
Sometimes maybe. But you gotta think about it's a new hole. What have I always been taught of how to do this? What is the one thing I need to remember? You pretty much need to just remember one thing for each stroke. You can't think about a million things at a time. Mm-hmm. You just gotta remember one stroke at a time. One stroke at a time. And in Philippians 4:13 it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So you can do it all.
That even includes hitting a golf ball straight.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes it doesn't feel like it.
No.
But you actually can.
And Abs, one of the things is too, even just outside of golf, you know what I mean? If you think about your mindset when you're doing anything that you care about, right? You can do all things, right? It's just a mental decision.
Yep, it is.
Right. God's no respecter of person. So it's not like he created somebody else to be able to achieve something great that you couldn't achieve something great at.
Yep, God chose you.
So there's a number of things just for all you guys in here, because Abbie and Bella are sitting here, so is Drews and Ellie and Chrissy right now. Hunter's taking a nap. So they're all learning and listening while we're doing this, which is pretty fun. But, you can control your emotions by controlling your physiology, which is a really good, emotional hack, if you will. In other words, let's say you're just really down. You had a couple bad holes. It's a big tournament. You wanted to do better. And you're trying to get your head on track. But let's just face it. You can't usually overcome thoughts with thoughts. You know what I mean? If you're in a bad mental state, it's hard to just replace it with new good thoughts. But what you can do is do something physically that changes it. Mm-hmm. For example, if you were really down in the dumps and I splashed a cold glass of water straight in your face, I bet your emotion would change, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It would change from I'm down in the dumps and I can't get out of my mindset to, why would you splash me with water in the face? Maybe anger,
I think
maybe
she'd be grabbing the cup as fast as she could and trying to get one back in.
Okay, revenge, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be an emotion
Yeah.
too. I mean, I like humor.
Yeah.
Humor always helps me snap out of bad moods. In fact, did you guys know, do you have any idea why don't the other farm animals like playing basketball with pigs? Do you guys know why?
Why?
Because they're ball hogs. You liked that one, Jersey, didn't you?
Come on, back on track.
Wait. What do rabbits need after getting caught in the rain? A hair dryer.
I think today Greg brought in extra people to laugh at his jokes because he can tell that they're not going over well with me. So it's fine. But I think one of the things too, Abbie, that you just said that is important is making sure that, you do it, stroke by stroke or, opportunity by opportunity. Mm-hmm. And even like Bella was saying, it's so important for us all to make sure that our mindset just gets right. And when our mindset is in a pure state, then we're able to think clearly, and I was talking about it in the last podcast, but one of the things I want to say, and it's so powerful because it was so reminded, we were reminded of it the other day, was that we were at church with our pastor Colin, who was speaking all about really having a full life. And he was discussing how sometimes our past that we've made maybe a mistake in, or we didn't make a team, or, almost like opportunities where we failed, I should say, happened to us. He was talking about a situation where he didn't make a soccer team and he really wanted to. And then he never really dealt with it. And then later in life.
He was 12 years old and he was trying out for a high level soccer club. He was really good, thought it would work out. And then he had, at the very end, the very last day, another kid that was competing for a spot. He beat him out. And he went from, it was interesting because he said, I didn't have a Michael Jordan story. I didn't have I got cut from my freshman basketball team. So next year I came back, with just this anger and this vision and or this vigor to actually do what I needed to do in order to become the greatest ever. He said, I had the exact opposite. He said, I went, instead of using it as fuel to make me go better, I actually sat in the thoughts of thinking I'm not good enough and I'm not worthy and I can't actually accomplish this. And so it pretty much almost ended his soccer career of a high level because of that.
Right. And what's funny is that I can totally relate to this story. As he was saying it, I remember literally trying out for my high school fast pitch softball team. And I had been playing for however many years and doing, in my opinion, pretty well. And according to the coaches that I had at the time, pretty well. And then I didn't make my freshman year team. And I remember going home, and again, instead of it fueling me, it actually just frustrated me. And I allowed it to start defining that I wasn't that good at maybe sports, or I shouldn't play at that level. I couldn't do that. So I totally related to his story, like so on point. And what was interesting is just like he said he had to deal with it. Eventually he did. Eventually he had to deal with it through his own children even. Because his children were trying out for his son was trying out for a high-level soccer team. And you fast forward to the whole thing where, again, he didn't want his child not to succeed. No parent does ever not want their child to succeed. And here he was sitting on the sidelines when Josiah did make the team. That was kind of hard at the time, but his performance on the field was not doing very well.
Yeah, he said he was talking about how he, Josiah was out there and is really on a solid team, and he's working hard, and he's just having like a really bad first half of soccer, right? Just like the really bad, and as he's watching his son, and he's watching, the coaches were just all over him, just like riding him about how bad he was doing. And he said even during halftime, you're not supposed to go talk to your parents, but he did. He walked over to his dad, and Josiah had big, tears in his eyes, and was just like, Dad, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I don't know if I'm good enough for this. And
it was so powerful at that moment because his dad at that time said a powerful quote for their family that we live by also.
Yeah, and he said, I just want you to go out there for the next half. I want you to give it everything you got. I don't care how the results go, because your best is required. Or your best is enough, but your best is required. right? And that's one of
Yep.
our family philosophies, that you go out there and you give it everything you got, because you can control that action. He said, so he takes him out there and he said, you'd think the story got better, but actually he played way worse the second half, like
Right.
way worse. He said, it's probably like the worst I've ever seen him play in his entire life. You know?
Well, and then you just say this whole thing that it's like, as parents, right? We think, okay, well, when we go home, we'll get this on track. The next game, we got this. You know what I mean? We'll correct a couple things. We'll have some pep talks. You'll be back out there in no time. And unfortunately, what happened is, again, they were praying about it. They were coaching. They were helping. And his next game was even worse than the first game.
Yeah.
And it was just becoming a point where literally him as a dad.
Coaches are all over him. Coaches are riding him. Felt like they were completely singling him out, just wearing him out. And
And what
for
was-
himself, he was just sitting there really questioning himself.
Yeah, Pastor Colin was like, maybe I'm pushing him too hard myself. Maybe I have him in a league that we're not ready for. Like, and I can just relate to that as a parent. Maybe you can sit here and think about it yourself. How many times we maybe push our kids in ways that at the time we feel like it's a healthy push. And it doesn't have to be just in sports. It could be in anything. It could be in academics, it could be in friendships. It could be in, whatever it may be. We're kind of pushing them because we want them to be able to enjoy some of the benefits that maybe we didn't, and not just in the sporting arena, but just in life, to live their full life and not feel like they have ever been held back from that. And so I can even picture myself sometimes pushing the kids and doing stuff like I so badly want them to achieve at the next level, because I understand that, if they did, they'll feel better about it versus worse about it.
Yeah.
And it was so neat how he even said that he came to his friend at church and said, I think I need some prayer because I really feel like I might be doing something wrong here, because I am so upset. I'm so frustrated.
Question himself. Think I'm being a bad dad.
Question
he's
as
really
a
feeling
parent and everything. And sure enough, his friend prayed over him and got in the spirit with him and discussed it with him. And my gosh, not that the next game was perfect.
But this is important. He said his friend, who was like really got into prayer, not just dear God, please help my son win a game. It wasn't like that. It was like a pressed in, okay, God, we need to hear from you, Holy Spirit kind of moment. And his really good friend said, well, first of all, what I feel God is telling me to tell you is that you're not a bad dad. He said, second of all, you're supposed to stick this out, because the reason they're hard on your son is because he's so good. And he was just like, whoa, because he couldn't even see that, because he's living this through his own experience of 12 years old and convincing himself that he wasn't good enough. So now he's afraid that his son maybe isn't good enough also. But that gave him enough fuel. He admitted, he's like, it didn't give me fuel to like go forever, but it gave me fuel to go back one more game. So when he goes out to this very last game, then the coach came in. They have kind of a rule, which is a good rule, to not talk to the coaches within 48 hours. But the coach actually came up to him and said, hey, listen, I know that we've been really hard on your son for a little while here, but it's simply because we think he's one of the best. We're pushing him because we want to bring the best out of him. So it was confirmation of the prayer. And then he was like, oh, thank God, right?
Right. And with that, I just wanted to say what I think is so important with that specific situation is that had Pastor Colin not had a trustworthy, healthy person to come to that is also parenting on their own and had some, words straight from the Word of God on what to say and how to move forward with this, and didn't have a healthy person pouring into him like that he might have taken the advice from just anybody. Right? Like, how many times are we like, oh my gosh, I read a book about parenting. They say don't over push. I think I should pull them. You know what I mean? Or my sister says I'm being too rough. I'm done. You know what I mean? Or, oh gosh, even my kids are like, why are you doing this, Mom or Dad? And he could have taken advice from other people and even himself at times when he wasn't thinking as clearly as he was after he went to a healthy person to help him hear directly from the Word. And I think that's the key to a lot of things on what we're even discussing sometimes in this podcast, is that we all need healthy mentors in our life to walk through this journey of parenthood with us.
Well, and it comes back to what we've discussed before about everybody needs vulnerability.
Yes.
But you never get vulnerable with someone who isn't healthy, because that's the direct formula for manipulation. When he got what he did, and I love that he said this, it really stuck with me. He said, when I went there and I went for prayer, and got with my friend and I went with prayer, and he said, you know what? I didn't do the weak Christian move where it's like, can I just pray over something I don't really want to describe? Right.
Right.
Can I just have, I don't feel ready, or I don't feel like I should voice this out loud, but can you just give me like general prayer? He didn't do that because general prayers don't do anything. You need specifics. So he was willing to be vulnerable, and he said, listen, I'm feeling like I'm a bad dad. I feel like I might be blowing it with my kid right now, and I could use some prayer from someone that I trust. And because of that, then his friend Jack knew actually to pray for this and then receive from it. And there's so much. I just literally had somebody today say, hey, listen, I was wondering if you could pray for my friend today. You know, it's not my information to share, but I was wondering if you could pray. And I sent a message back. I said, I'm glad to pray, but if you don't tell me what's going on, I have no idea what to pray for and stand on and against. And so I said, general prayers are weak prayers.
Right. I think we're so passionate, we like can't stop talking here. And I think just to go back, I think it's so important for us both. It's like what we do is that make sure, again, that we are always, you know, getting in agreement and having mentorship in our life with people who love us, love our children, love our family dynamics enough to tell us the truth, even when it's hard to hear sometimes. And so Jack was the best person for Pastor Colin to listen to because he was willing to tell him what he really needed to hear, not just what made him feel comfortable, not just what, you know, kind of would make him feel good for the moment. It was something that was going to help the family. And then you fast forward and just kind of end the story on this. Pastor Colin said, you know, his son went back out, kept practicing. And honestly, it didn't get better for almost up to like 3 months. It didn't turn overnight. They had to keep working at it. There was a lot of dynamics that went into it. But after those 3 months, like it changed everything. And then you fast forward to where Josiah is today. And he's, I mean, one of the most amazing soccer athletes around, you know, and it's so powerful that it came from having enough discernment on Pastor Colin's, you know, heart to go up to somebody and ask for somebody to pray with him.
Yeah.
And to be specific about it. And I just think that's really neat. And so to kind of say how even like in our situation with our kids, that story for me, and maybe you're listening to this today and you need to hear this, is that it made me feel so at peace hearing Pastor Colin's message because, you know, when our kids are going through obviously not only like the world of sports, but then moving on to other aspects that they want to do well in. Sometimes my limiting beliefs from maybe something I didn't accomplish can come up, and I don't ever want that to be something that turns into not a great opportunity for our kids because I'm fearful of something in the past. Yeah. So even if you are a parent and you're sitting here like, I think I have limiting beliefs, that's okay. Admit them. You know what I mean? Be forefront about them, but don't allow them to then also dictate the future of what your kids can do because you don't want them to deal with your past of what you haven't dealt with.
Because if you don't face your stuff ever, then it's going to get passed on.
100%.
You know, and it takes work and it takes effort. And honestly, there's only one way through it. And for us, we know that's Jesus.
Right.
And so, you know, and I love that Colin mentioned that this didn't turn overnight because whatever you want that's going to be worth it, you're going to have to fight for. You know, we talked about your first year goal here, girls, is what again?
To be most improved player.
Most improved players in the team. But what's your goal by the time you graduate?
To win a championship.
To be state champs. You know, so now just think that sounds super easy, but that's going to be a fight. Mm-hmm. But you can do all things.
Yep.
Through Christ who strengthens you, right?
Yes.
Amen. All right. Hey everyone, thanks for listening and thanks for your love and support. We hope that today's episode added tremendous value to you and your family. It would mean so much to us if you would partner with us on our mission of helping parents around the globe raise champion children in this crazy world.
To do so, simply take a moment to like and share this podcast with everyone in your network. And we have great news. You get more of us. You can expect new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. So be sure to consistently tune in with us and enjoy our show. See you next time.